came across a quote recently that genuinely stopped me in my tracks. What you're not changing, you're choosing. And I just sat with that because my first thought was, ouch. Because immediately, without even having to think about it, a few specific areas of my life came rushing to the surface. Things that I had talked about changing and I'd wanted to change. I had started researching them. I pondered them. I discussed them with people I cared about. I made Pinterest boards about these things and added different thoughts to my notes app approximately like 47 times of like ways in which I was going to start taking action to change these things. I had done all of these different things to plan to make the change, but I never took any action to make the changes. And this quote made it clear because it kind of shifted me from feeling like I was stuck in this state of like analysis paralysis of like, oh, if I just find like one more thing to make me feel ready to make these changes, then I will appear at readiness and be here. But doing that, like just sticking and kind of like the research and the planning and like the feeling my way through it, that was a choice that I was making. That was my choice I was making. I was making the choice to sit in analysis paralysis and not take the action to change. And that was very confronting. It was a lot to sit with. And so this is what we are talking about today. What you are not changing, you are choosing. So hi guys, welcome back to Get Messy. This is like a personal one, a personal exploration about the gap between who we say we want to be and what we're actually doing about trying to become the person that we want to be. And my husband has this quality that I genuinely admire and occasionally find it mildly infuriating, but he can look at something that isn't working in his life and usually make a decision and pivot pretty quickly. He does not take failure personally, really at all. He doesn't let outcomes shake his belief in himself. He just takes the information, recalibrates, and just keeps moving. He's very decisive and very action oriented. He doesn't get lost in like the research spiral, hoping that this like one more podcast or one more article is going to give him the thing that he finally needs to move. Me, I can be a deeply action oriented person, but there have been some phases of my life where I've gotten completely lost in the sauce of like researching and finding more information and seeking more information and analysis paralysis, like seeking more information when I already have all of the information that I need. And what I actually need in those moments isn't another piece of information. It's courage. It's courage. That's what is needed. So when I stumbled upon this quote, what you're not changing, you're choosing, it didn't just illuminate the gap. It made me accountable to the things that I was choosing and not changing in a way that I couldn't ignore anymore. And today I'm going to walk you through a couple areas of my life that I wanted to change and wasn't changing and what I did about it after seeing this quote, and not in a sweeping overnight transformation way. Because I wish it was like a montage in a movie where it's like all the things just like look so fun and there's like really upbeat, nice music that just makes you want to like dance. And then the character's like all of a sudden like beautiful and transformed and their life is perfect and they have the perfect relationship. And you guys know those montages. But no, in the real incremental, sometimes uncomfortable way that change actually happens. So after this quote hit me like a ton of bricks, I did something I want you to do too. It got honest, like really honest with myself. And I sat down and I looked at the specific areas of my life where I had been talking about change, thinking about change, researching change, but not actually making any change. And 4 sections of my life came up. The first one was my body. And this is not a like whole me trying to like get skinnier or things like that. But my body had changed a lot as I moved into my early 30s. And even though I was like consistent about working out, something was just off. Like I felt really disconnected to my body. I didn't feel strong. I didn't feel sexy. I just was not accepting of like my current new body, and just what I'd been doing wasn't making me feel good. I was still showing up. I was still moving. I was still patting myself on the back for being like, hey, you worked out 5 days this week, every single week, and you eat pretty healthy. But I just wasn't getting the results that I actually wanted. And it wasn't even just results about like looking a certain way. It was feeling a certain way, which I wanted to feel strong and good in my own skin. The second area of my life was my personal style, or more accurately, my complete lack of personal style. I could tell you everything about clothing wise or style wise that I don't like faster than I could tell you what I do. And I've always felt overwhelmed putting outfits together or shopping, or I've always wanted to be expressive through fashion and through my clothes. And I've always felt so disconnected and truly just overwhelmed and uncomfortable doing that. So I end up wearing like the same things on rotation or buying stuff that is like similar to what I already have, or I buy stuff that I don't like and I try to force it to work. And I really wanted to learn how to actually express myself through what I wear. This is still a work in progress, but it's gotten much, much better. And I just kept like putting it off. And I thought that by like scrolling through different websites of different designers I like, or stores that I like, or, you know, spending enough time on Pinterest making like cute fashion mood boards, that like one day I was magically going to wake up with the instincts of Tan France. And spoiler alert, that did not happen. The third section was my creativity. This one was the most uncomfortable for me to admit because I had slowly stopped prioritizing the thing that made me the happiest, which is doing projects, making projects, being creatively fulfilled, like always having something that I'm creating that might not result in like more income, or like creating for the sake of creating and storytelling for the sake of storytelling. So much of my energy had gone into career building and financial growth and logistics of all of that. And I'd quietly pushed aside my creativity almost to the back of the line. And there was just this growing lump in my chest that kept begging for me to pay attention to it. And I just kept walking right past it, and that needed to stop. I really did not like how that made me feel. And the fourth was how I was hiding. During COVID, I basically stopped sharing publicly. Like, I don't think I posted on Instagram since like 2019 or something crazy, up obviously until recently. And now I'm posting a lot, but somewhere along the way, choosing not to share became hiding. I stopped talking about what I was working on, what I was excited about, what I was building. I got very comfortable in a cave of my own making. And even though I shared deeply with the people that I feel really close to, I had completely shut the door on anything beyond that. And part of me desperately wanted to be seen and to be heard. And another part of me was so terrified of exactly that. And I knew it was time to start working through it, because a lot of the things or experiences I want in my life come at the cost of like sharing and putting yourself out there and making that choice versus the one to hide and to keep, again, in like my own little safe cave of my own creation. So once I got clear on the different like sections of my life that I really wanted to make some conscious changes in, I had to answer the harder questions. What does choosing differently actually look like here? Not in theory, but like, what does me taking an action in all these different areas of my life that is different than the actions I'm currently taking? What does it actually look like? What's the plan? And I want to walk through each one with you because I think some of the specifics matter. So for the body stuff, I did some research and learned that some HIIT classes that I'd been taking weren't actually serving the changes in my body and what I was going through in my 30s. So I switched things up. I started focusing more on strength training and low impact cardio and Pilates. I hired a trainer at the studio that I go to whose classes I absolutely love, which made it easy to fold into my existing routine. I signed up for a half marathon, which I know is kind of like the opposite because people have all different theories and stuff about running. But again, my whole goal right now wasn't to get smaller. It was like, how can I embrace the body that I have that is beautiful and wonderful? And how can I feel strong and feel just like so confident, or just to feel like I'm living in my own skin. And like when I am walking through the world in my body, I feel connected to myself. So I signed up for a half marathon, my first one ever, which gave me something to train towards and a date that I had to show up for. And my husband and I started incorporating more natural movement into our days, like a lot of walking, bike riding, pickleball. Like we don't like play like real pickleball. We just like volley back and forth, and it's so fun. So like natural ways to move our body that just felt good. And training for and completing that half marathon was one of the most powerful things I've ever done for how I feel about my body. And I look back on it. I think I'll do another half marathon again at some point, but it was such a good thing for me, mentally, physically, emotionally, like that process of training and then having the day of that half marathon. It sounds so funny because I know some people like do full marathons, do Iron marathons. Like it was a big deal for me, and it made like a profound impact on my relationship with my body. And again, the strength training has just been incredible. I've loved it Pilates. I feel so strong and sexy. I have a really, really good friend, Megan Gill, who has an amazing platform called Continued Conversations, where she talks a lot about body image and has people come on and explore their own body image story, because we all have a body image story. She has one post a week. She's like a guest episode that is also like an article you can read, or you can listen to it as a podcast. And then she has like her own personal reflections. And I have found a lot of healing in reading her stories and listening to other people's stories. So a lot of like decisive action there that I feel so much better than I did a year ago at this time. And that feels really cool and really exciting. And I'm excited to kind of keep diving into that even deeper, because my relationship with my body I'll have as long as God lets me be on this earth. And so I'm cool to keep exploring what that looks like. That is a long-winded way to get to my personal style. I tried the Pinterest board route, and it helps a little bit for sure to just kind of like get an idea of like, oh, I like that or whatever. I had conversations with friends. I collected brands I liked and ideas that resonated. And very quickly I realized I was still spinning my wheels. I just get so overwhelmed. Like when I'm on a website and there's like all these cute clothes, or would this like work with anything in my closet? Will this like look good on me? Like it just overwhelms the heck out of me. So I did the thing I probably should have done from the start, and I hired a stylist. I did my research. I got on a discovery call, and I felt instantly like she was the right fit. And we scheduled a time to work together, and it was unbelievable. Her name's Kaki Gaines, Kakigaines. I will say she's much more expensive than when I hired her last year, and rightfully so, because she's unbelievable. She did a whole like color board for me so I could actually see with my skin tone like what colors look good on me and like what season I'm supposed to be in. I'm a true spring, which I did not anticipate. And she rated all my measurements, and she actually like helped me understand what certain styles and things look good on me and my bone structure. And I mean, oh my God, she was so helpful. The resources that she gave me about makeup and hair color and styles and accessories, and it is unbelievable. She also has on her website, her Instagram has a ton of great resources. Her website has a ton of great resources where she'll be like the best sheer tops of summer. And she'll give you like on her website, here are like 12 of them in all different price ranges. It's unbelievable. Like she has been a gold mine of confidence and information and inspiration. I am still really working on this section of my life, but I feel so much more informed and educated in like the specific way for me. And I feel more confident to keep like diving into this myself. I now can go into a store, and because of the knowledge I have from her, kind of know, oh, this will look good on me, or like this probably won't look that good on me, and to be okay. I'm not like trying to make things work for myself just because I like how it looks, but it's like not good for me. So it has been great. Kaki Gaines is a legend. And if this is something that causes you stress, because like we wear clothes all day, every day of our lives. And if you don't, I'm curious about your lifestyle. We should talk. Sounds interesting. So it's like a huge part of expression. And I don't think it even needs to be that complicated. I think that's what I'm learning too, is like my personal like uniform, so to speak, doesn't have to be that complicated, but I would like to feel good in the clothes that I wear. And I know when I'm not wearing something that makes me feel good, how much it does impact like my mood and my confidence. So that was the personal style piece. The creativity. This one required the most excavation because it was the area that I had neglected the longest. And what I realized is that by the time I got through my morning workout and I sat down to work, I was immediately diving into my to-do list, my emails, my things for my agents, production stuff, prepping for a VO job, like things for other people. And by the time I got to do anything for myself, my brain was scattered. I felt ungrounded, and I was being genuinely critical of anything I tried to create, which pushed me further away from creation. And here's what I know about myself. Mornings are my time. That is like my time to shine. I'm an early bird. That's when I feel the most alive, the most energetic, the most clear-headed, the most like myself. So the decision I made was I give myself 1 hour at the start of every day to do something creative, just for me. No parameters, no agenda, no expectation that it's going to lead to money or opportunity or anything else. Some days it's free writing. Some days it's working on a solo episode or my Substack. Sometimes it's diving back into a screenplay idea. It doesn't matter what it is. It just has to be mine, and I get to decide what that hour is going to look like. And like sometimes like we live by the beach right now, so like sometimes I take my morning routine to the beach when the weather allows, and starting the day just listening to the waves and getting grounded before I give my energy to anyone else is altering and life-changing. My husband and I are about to move to the Midwest where we will not have access to waves, but I know what works for me, so I can kind of understand what I need to tap into to give myself that type of experience that like grounds me and connects me to my soul. And then again, before my mind is clouded and cluttered with all the things from the day and things for other people, I'm giving that gift to myself. I don't have kids right now. We don't have a pet. We like know the responsibilities besides mine and my husband's relationship to each other and like our work responsibilities. And so I have the gift right now of giving myself this time. I also have school. I just like, as I'm talking, I'm like, why does my schedule feel so crazy right now? Oh yeah, I'm like in grad school. Point being, there will always be these other like deadlines and to-do lists and things that we have to do for everybody else and for school and for work. How can I give myself the gift of like 1 hour or 30 minutes a day? Like just something at the start of my day that's for me and for my creativity. And starting the day with myself, for myself, has really changed everything. I'm taking up more space. I feel more free. I feel my creativity coming back. I also took a class with my old writing teacher called Big Idea. And the entire focus of this class was accessing the ideas already living inside of yourself. I literally came into that class not feeling like I was broken. That's a little too extreme, but feeling like my creativity, like there was the two chords were not plugged in together. Something was like completely off. And I left every single class. It was a 4-week class, being amazed at how many ideas were like being pulled out of me from these different prompts and different things we were doing, and how it was a total launch pad for me feeling just like really creative. And it's kind of stuck with me ever since. Kim does this class a couple times a year. It is phenomenal. I'll put it in the show notes for you guys. The hiding. I started small. I asked myself what would be the easiest thing to start sharing. And it was the voiceover work that I had done over the past year that I was genuinely proud of. And another thing that I wanted to share was some of the travel that my husband and I had done. So things that I was excited about, things that felt safe to share because it was just like the joy of sharing them. I wasn't like worried about, I don't know, like what someone was going to say or how it was going to be perceived. I just was like, these things make me so happy. I want to share them. And I also hid my like count so I can't see the numbers, and like the numbers and the external validation couldn't like get in my head and knock me off course. And then something interesting happened. Starting made it easier to keep going. Go figure. Take action begets more action. So sharing the VO work led to me sharing more about my podcast, and then sharing the podcast led to me sharing more personal milestones like my half marathon, and all of that led me to getting braver. And now I'm sharing my Substack that I started. And now I'm doing solo episodes, which I was so scared to do when I even first started this podcast, which is so funny. And now I'm like here and I'm doing them and like we're rocking our way through it. They used to be so painful. Now they're fun, which is so funny because I'm like sitting here by myself in this room, like talking into a microphone, like hoping one day people will listen to this. It's like such a funny experience. But like I used to be genuinely really afraid to do this. And now I'm doing it every other week because I have a solo episode every other week. So starting for me in this area was just the whole thing with all of these things. I needed to start. Action begets more action. And I had to start small in all of these things. And I had to know like some of the areas I needed help, some of the areas I couldn't do on my own. So choosing to start is the first step in making the change. But I really want to be clear about something too. None of these changes happened overnight. None of them were dramatic. They were small, intentional, consistent shifts. And that's exactly why they're sticking. That's exactly why all of these things have continued to move in a positive direction, is because I wasn't like, okay, and today's the day, like I'm doing the half marathon tomorrow and like I'm throwing out all my clothes and going to the store and getting all new clothes and I'm going to write a screenplay in a month. Like, no. It has been super small, very specific, incremental actions and steps, and a lot of checking in with myself. Okay, you took this small action. How do you feel? Is it moving us closer or further away to our goal? Further? Okay, let's pivot. Closer? Great. Let's double down. I had to constantly keep like realigning with myself. Real change usually doesn't arrive in one big sweeping moment. It happens in small incremental actions done consistently over time. And if you do something for 2 weeks and you drop it, it's a nice experiment, but that's not change. So part of this process was getting honest about how I actually work best and designing the changes around that instead of fighting against like working best. Like I tried for so long to be like, okay, I'm going to like bust through my to-do list and bust through all my school. And then in the afternoon, I'm going to create. And then every afternoon I was fucking exhausted. Like the last thing I wanted to do was sit down, even though it was the thing that I wanted the most and I desired the most. And I was trying to prioritize it. I was like working against how I work best. So getting clear on that too was extremely helpful. Another thing is like, I know I'm an accountability person. I work better when there is some sort of external structure or external pressure, like a trainer to show up for, a workout class that I signed up for, that if I cancel, it will cost me money. My homework for grad school has a deadline and a due date. A half marathon, like there's a date on the calendar that I'm working towards, and a calendar of training that I'm hopefully doing week by week or trying to do week by week. I have friends like with my podcast, I was like, I'm going to start the podcast. It's going to be set on this date, or like, hey, I'm afraid to post this thing on Thursday and I'm posting it on Thursday. So like check in with me. Knowing that I crave accountability and knowing that I work best with accountability, I don't see it as a weakness. I see this as self-knowledge, and I'm using what I know about myself to set myself up for success. I think it's like one of the smartest things you can do. It's like you're flowing with the motion of your own ocean and usually like you are then swept up. I feel like I have so much positive energy and momentum and all these different things that I'm doing. So I'm not like fighting the current of what works for me. I'm like grooving and sliding right along with it. I also leaned on my community for the visibility stuff specifically. I told a few close friends what I was working on and asked them to hold me to it. So saying it out loud to someone made it feel real in a way that my notes app never could. And it moved it out of my body and mind and into the world. And that made a big difference for me personally. So all of that to say, I want to close with something my therapist said to me recently. And just like this quote, it's something that I keep coming back to. And she said, Maddie, I want to remind you that you always have a choice. She said it in the context of my husband and I were looking into buying a house and we'd been searching for a while and we hadn't found the right thing. And there was like this fear underneath it. It was like this excitement and this fear underneath it all. Like, what if we choose wrong? What if we pick something and like in a year later, we're like, God, this doesn't feel right. And she reminded me, like, even if that happened, like we would figure it out. Even if we bought a house and in a year later, it wasn't right, like we could choose to sell it. We could choose to stay. Like we would never be permanently stuck in a decision we made. We could always make another one. And like, yes, are there consequences of that? Like losing money if you're trying to sell it a year later. Oh my God, you just bought this house and now you want to sell. Like there are things that would make it more complicated, but even those things are just things. Like all of those things are figure outable and things that you could deal with. Like we're never paralyzed or stuck in any decision that we made. We could always choose again. Like a choice that you make is not like tattooed on your forehead. You are able to make another choice if the first choice you made didn't work out. And I think that used to really freak me out. I think that I felt like if I made a decision, I had to like stick by it. It was almost like if I didn't stick by the decision, am I giving up? What does it say about myself? That like I trusted myself to make this choice and then I chose wrong. I had a lot of fear about making a choice. And so I think about this conversation a lot. It pops into my head like a little bubble when I feel stuck. Like, hey, you have a choice to do something different, a choice to change my mind, a choice to double down, a choice to leave or stay or quit or not quit or start over or go all in or walk away, to buy the house, to not buy the house, to say the thing or to stay quiet. Like we are so very rarely actually stuck. We are usually just standing at a choice point and choosing consciously or not to either stay where we are or to move forward. So if there's something in your life right now that you've been talking about and thinking about and researching and pondering, I want you to hear this. You are not stuck. You're choosing, and you can choose to keep doing what you're doing, or you can choose differently starting today. No matter what you are choosing, it is your choice, and you have the power to make that choice. You have the power to choose again. If you want to choose again and choose differently, you can't be somewhere new tomorrow if you don't do something new today. And it doesn't have to be enormous. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be something. One small action in the direction of the change you keep saying that you want. And another quote that's coming to mind as I'm talking about this right now, there was another person that was like, oh, but what if I make the wrong choice? And I thought about it of like, I should be more afraid of staying where I'm at than where I'm going. Like if it was a year from now and I was like where I'm at, that scares me. That scares me more than like the thought of the unknown of where I'm going. So that's how it starts. One small action in the direction of the change that you keep saying that you want. That's how it starts. That's how it stays. I'm rooting for you today and always. You're the real hero if you've made it this far. Thanks so much for hanging out today, and check out the show notes for any resources or cool info mentioned in today's episode or places to follow along if you want to hang out some more. I'm rooting for you today and always. Stay messy.